get those little fat fingers together for Mr. Clifton Powell. Whoa! Whoa!
Man, you need some help. You need some help with the Instagram thing, man, because you were saying I was having trouble getting in. This is my first time ever making it in, and I was feeling good about myself. And then you told me I was on hold for 2 minutes, and I was like, I know I did the right thing to get in. So I was just letting your people know I was here.
All my people, you was calling me. That's why I was telling folks.
I thought that was just one of your technicians or something. What's going on with? I'm just proud that I got in at 9 o'clock, bro.
Me too, brother. I am. I'm turning these comments off you so I can see you, brother. Hey, man, thank you for coming. I'm glad you got in, too. Sometimes those folks don't get in, and they call me. And they say, hey, man, how I get in? But you was calling to say, I'm in, where you at? So welcome to the show,
yeah, because I heard you say he was having trouble getting in, and this is the first time I ever got in. So I was trying to feel good about myself. You know what I mean?
Well, you should feel good about yourself. You got right in, brother. You ain't had no trouble with it, man. Good to see you tonight. How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. It's just, long days, and I'm glad you called me to remind me because of the time change. I'm looking at the clock. I looked at the clock at 8:30. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be right on time. And then I got busy again. And so I'm glad you called me, man, because I wouldn't have want to call you at 10 o'clock and say I missed it.
Man, I'm glad. I'm glad you're here. What project you working on right now, though? Because you constantly
I'm working on staying out the projects.
Me too.
That's why I stopped doing stand-up right there.
Yeah. If I don't get on a project soon, I'll be moving back into the project. So I know
the project,
what you talking about.
I'm sorry, man. I literally been in my car all day because we had Zoom stuff all day. I just finished doing 2 movies with Carrie Hilson and Tank.
Nice.
One called Lust, one called Envy. So we had publicity all day today, and then just still running around. And I'm doing a TV series with Paula Patton. I haven't really announced it.
Wow.
Recurring on this new series called Sacrifice. And so that's what, and of course, we just finished doing Saints and Sinners. So I'm just blessed to be working, man, and especially during the pandemic. And I'm just so appreciative to all of, the young people, African American, Latino, Asian, white, that support me and you. And, it's a great time. It's a tough time right now, man. So I'm just glad I'm working and we're working.
Look how blessed you are. It's a tough time. You got 4 gigs. How do you keep from mixing them up? How do you keep from mixing your dialogue up in one place and accidentally say the line for the other thing? Is there a system?
That's all training. Saints and Sinners, we started Saints and Sinners in August. Then we did the movie. Then we did the series. And then we did Lust. And I only had a couple of days on Envy. And then we did Lust. I did about a week. But I'm in and out. I played a pastor. And then I did Sacrifice. And I'm recurring. So I'm not there I'm only doing 7 out of 10. So, I may work next Wednesday and I might be off for a week. And, so it fits in, And then, you got to stop your life and sit your butt down and study. It's discipline.
Wow. And, you always appear to be a wild person to me. And
say that again.
You always appear to be a wild person to me.
What's that mean?
That it doesn't seem like you're the kind of person who's disciplined and will sit down and learn lines. But there's no way you can achieve what you're doing without doing that type of discipline.
Well, I'm a Pisces, and I had a rough childhood, and I had 20 years of unemployment before I made enough of a living to have to not have a job. And I didn't get to Hollywood until I was 37.
Okay.
I didn't get my first car until I was 45.
Wow.
I didn't have a bank account until I was 46. I know I was dating this young lady. I'm not even going to say her name because she's a big time Hollywood lady. Mm-hmm. And I remember my little car got towed. And she said, well, why don't you call and get the money out your bank account? I said, I don't have no bank account. and she said, the NIGGA word, she said, Negro, how do you pay your bills? And I was 44. I said, shit, I go to Nick's Check Casher down on Pico. That's how I paid my bills. So, you know, when you come up through the system like I did, like, you know, when I got to New York, Sam and Denzel and Charlie Dutton and all those guys were starting out, man. And we were all, you know, struggling, trying to make ends meet. In fact, it's so deep, man. Sam DM'd me because he's down here doing a movie, an incredible movie. And I said, hey, Sam, man, what a journey it has been. And he said, beyond our wildest imagination. And so, to make a long story short, I just, in that journey, Mike, I knew that I had to have some kind of discipline. I never really done hard. You know, I smoked a little weed back in high school.
Right.
And I stopped. I never drank during college. I didn't smoke weed during college.
Okay.
I didn't start drinking again until I really didn't drink during college. I didn't start drinking until I was like 27, 28, because I wanted to make sure I could handle my alcohol. And the way I was trained, you know, when you train in the Stanislavski system, it's almost like you're in the military.
Oh, wow.
So in between having fun, I remember, and this is the last part of it, one of my teachers said, everything in moderation. So I don't have so much fun that I can't get to work. I don't have so much work that I can't have fun, but I never let them overtake each other. So when it's time to sit my butt down to study, you know, like I got some big scenes coming up on Monday. I'm going to start studying tonight. I start studying tonight. When I get off, I'm going to go have me some dinner, drink half a cup of coffee because I drink decaf, and I'll stay up until about 3 or 4 and study. And then, you know, when I get into town on Saturday, I'll hang out a little bit. When I say hang out, I might unpack, and because I'm going to be down there for 2 months, and then I'll study some more Saturday evening. And then on Sunday, I'll block out my half a day on Sunday, and I'll study a half a day and lock it in. So that by Monday, I got to take my COVID test, and then I'll study a little bit on Monday just to go over to make it really smooth for my transition. That's all part of my training. So as wild and crazy as I am, what's your birth sign, Mike?
February 9th, Aquarius, brother.
Okay, so you know how wild and crazy y'all are. I'm right there with you. I'm a Pisces, Sagittarius. And you know, Richard Pryor, Jamie Foxx, they all say we have big personalities, but the discipline comes out of the training of knowing when you got to sit down and then when you do good work, people expect good work all the time. So you got to be excellent, consistently excellent all the time.
Wow.
I know that took me a long time to get that out, but
that was great.
But I want the young people to understand you can have fun, but you can't go too far.
Exactly. I wish when I was younger, I had known when I was doing crack, I wish I had known to do it in moderation, you know, but I was like, now I'm going to have all I want. And so like yourself, I started late. I didn't even really get kicked in until 30, 35 before I even start really getting gigs and stuff. But now I'm super disciplined. Like you, I read the plans, I study.
I remember when I first got to California and I was out on Venice Beach, I would see you out on Venice Beach. And I said to myself, if this cat can stay focused and stay disciplined, he's going to be working in this business. You got to understand, I saw everybody before they made it.
Wow.
And I remember I saw Taraji at a reading in Ladera, not in Ladera House, off of Crenshaw, and at a small little theater. I said, this young lady's going to make it. I remember seeing Robin Harris, everybody. But, you know, back in the New York days, Denzel and Sam and Essa Pathan Murkison, Jim Pickens, who's on Grey's Anatomy, you know, those guys were a little ahead of me. And I knew if I could be disciplined, keep whatever things in perspective, even your personal life, I can have a shot at being successful in this business. So it doesn't matter how you start, Mike, it's how you finish, you know? Yeah. And crack is not really something you can do in moderation. And that's why I really never messed around with cocaine, man. I never did.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, and I try to be a standing example of what not to do when it comes to that. You know, I try to make young folks remember you don't have to do that. If you do your work, you can have everything. And the everything is so much better. It tastes so much better. When folks out there getting high, they be thinking, man, this is heaven. And then once they come down, they be, man, down back in hell. But when you do it right, when you keep God in it, you be healthy, you have real goals, it is a joy that sustains itself across the line. It don't go up and down, you know. So that's but have you stopped counting your movies? Because they think that in a when I look them up, it says over 100. They don't even try to list all your stuff.
Well, I get a lot of flack, Mike. I get a lot of flack for, people coming to my page and say, yeah, he does any old SHIT movie and, he's a C-list actor and, he's always the bad guy. And what people don't understand is I have relationships with people. I wanted to be a football player. I never wanted to be an actor. So I never had a plan. I never imagined any of this. I remember in 1993, I got to LA in 89 after doing 10 years in New York. And my manager at the time asked me, she said, do you want to be rich? I said, no, I just want to work. She said, well, I want to be rich. So we're going to have to get on the same page about that. So I did it because I fell in love with the arts. And we don't have enough time for me to go into how I got started, but I wanted to be a football player, man. And so I didn't have a plan. And so I didn't know that back in the day, if you do movies, you didn't do commercials, or if you do commercials, you did movies and television. But if you was a movie star, you didn't really do television and commercials.
Yeah.
And nobody told me that. So I did all of it, And then when I started really, working a lot, like Mike, I've been seeing you since the Venice Beach days. We've worked together a few times. You call me up, you say, Cliff, I got a script, man. I only got 5,000 for the day. Man, if I can get your name on it, I get distribution. I feel like I have made it to a certain level in this business. And I always was trained, my teachers were black militants, man. And they drilled in your head, you got to reach back. So I would have never been comfortable making it to the next level, even where I am now, and not being connected to trying to give back. But you also catch a lot of flack for it. And I've lost managers and agents, especially agents. I did a movie one time called The Gospel. Right. With Will Packer and them when they first started.
Yes.
And I made $30,000 a week. My agent called me from APA and said, you're doing another one of them little black movies, man. I said, man, I got a family to feed, bro. And I'm not going to call his name. They dropped me like I was never there. But what happens, man, is so many parallels and potholes in this business. The Oscar is the kiss of death. A lot of entertainers who get Oscars, their careers die after they get the Oscar. And I'm going to tell you why. Because now you can't go back to doing commercials. You can't go back to TV because your salary is like $10 million. And if you go back to TV, it's always back in the day, you didn't do that. You didn't go from big movie star to television. Right, now it's different. So, back in the day, I kept this the other thing that I did. I tried to figure it out. I didn't have a plan, but I kept a street cat in the middle.
Okay.
So I remember Jamie Foxx said to me, he said, Cliff, always keep one foot in the streets. And he didn't say it exactly like I'm trying to watch my language.
Right.
But what I did as I was moving up, and I didn't even know I was moving up, was I kept a street cat, kept me connected to the street. So if somebody called me for independent and I was in town and I do 2 or 3 days, and make 5,000, 10,000, but it also helped them get their distribution. That's what I did.
Nice.
And
I think that's what we're supposed to do, though. We have to help other folks, brother. That's how the community dry up, is when we get ours and don't look back and just keep going.
Yeah, but let me just tell you this. This is not designed that way. Because when you get to a certain level, and let's be honest, man, everything is so much more diverse now. But back in my day, there were no black agents. It might have been one. This before Charles King and all those African-American agents that we have now. There were no African-American agents.
There's not a lot now.
There's not a lot now. So your agents, your managers, and I'm not knocking them. I have some great agents and managers. My manager right now, Chris, and I'll call his name is Chris Black. When I say Mr. Black at Opus Entertainment, it's probably one of the best managers you could ever have in your life. When I went through my divorce, My manager walked with me every day, man.
Wow.
Every day. When I couldn't give him his commission, he let it go. And the job that I have right now, you know how much he's gonna get in commission?
How much?
42,000.
Nice.
You know why? Because he held me down when I had nothing. The fact, Chris Black at Opus Entertainment, that is rare in this business. Because when I was with APA and Jeff Witches, I'm gonna call his name Jeff Witches, when I wasn't making them no more money, they dropped my ass. But let me just tell you why they did it. I ain't mad at Jeff. I ain't mad at APA. But they don't tell you that when you get signed by APA or Innovative or William Morris or ICM, you got to make a certain amount of money every year to stay there. You understand?
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff they don't tell you in the rule book, in the handbook at SAG. You got to make money to stay there. This is a capitalistic business.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think
so when the money fell off and we going through the writer's strike and I was out on the road doing those plays, hey, APA dropped me and they never even called me to tell me Chris called me one day. I said, what's up? He said, yeah, they just dropped you at APA. I'm like, man, I said, wow. But my manager, God bless his soul, man, he stuck with me. But let me just say this, because I don't want nobody to call you and say he sound mean and angry. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. It's
you don't
business.
sound like that. You don't sound bitter. Mean or angry.
It's bitter. It's business. And I want the young actors coming behind me, young actors, black, white, Latino, Asian, straight, gay, I don't care what you are. This is called show business. And you got to bring in money to stay at those big agencies. So I would say to you, be careful what you ask for, because it's lonely at the top. And most of the time, they call the Oscar the kiss of death. So let me wrap it up by saying Kevin Bacon made a statement once. He said, the best place to be in Hollywood is in the middle. You can go up, you can go down. It's always been. And so that's where we are, Mike. You're working, you're in the middle, you're building, and you ain't done.
Oh, no. I'm scratching the surface. You talking about me?
You just scratching the surface, bro. They ain't seen it. Yeah, man. So it's all a blessing, Mike, to be still in this game 25, 30 years later, you know?
Absolutely, brother. And if I'm doing what I love to do and I'm breaking even, I feel like I'm ahead of the game, brother. So I always am quick to say it's a lot of people making more money than me, but ain't nobody having more fun than me. Oh, I guarantee you that. Because I want to jump in this box because a bunch of folks have questions for you. And I want to ask a couple. Did you and Spike Lee ever squash your beef? I didn't know y'all had one. Did you ever squash your beef?
No. Spike Lee didn't have a beef with me, and I don't believe in beefs. I tell the truth. Okay. The problem is, and I'm gonna say this live, is a lot of times the new millennials and a lot of people, not just black folks, don't do their research. I'm not gonna rehash why I said what I said about Spike. But what I will say publicly is I had a talk with Tyler Perry. Spike Lee came and spoke with him. And basically what I was saying is, when Tyler Perry was homeless, if you didn't make him a sandwich, if you didn't give him no shelter, then you need to shut your ass up. Because I've been homeless 4 times, and it ain't no pretty thing. And so that's what I was saying. Don't go to the crossover press and put down another black man or black woman who's trying to find their way. And he's taking a lot of flack for, that Madea character. Man, when you living out of your truck or out of your car, you reaching, you just throwing shit up against the wall trying to see what sticks. And I take my hat off to Tyler Perry because, man, I've been there. And let me tell you something nobody knows, except my inner circle. When I came to Atlanta, I had $100 in my pocket 6 years ago. I was homeless, living in my truck in LA. I lost everything in my divorce. All my friends who I thought would hold me down turned on me. They didn't really turn their backs on me. They were never probably on my team anyway.
Wow.
I got some dear friends who held me down. Thank God for Swirl Films. Thank God for Keith Neal. Thank God for Rose Catherine Pinckney. Thank God for Kathy Colin. Thank God for Anita De Aguilar. Thank God for Steve Ferrier, Doug Holloway. Thank God for, my nephew JB, the sportscaster. That's my nephew. They held me down through the dark time. But sometimes, this pastor told me, sometimes God got to put you in a mess to clean you up. The best thing that ever happened to me. But it's not their fault. I was out there. I was having a lot of fun. And I said it on the Wendy Williams show, I got caught up in a lifestyle. So when I heard Spike say what he said about Tyler, I get it, but I don't think you take it to the crossover press and put down another black man or black woman or anyone, but especially our folks. You don't go to the man and start talking about black folks. That's what I was trying to say. Now, what I will say publicly is that Spike Lee has talked to Tyler. They worked it out. And I commend Spike Lee for doing that and taking a high road, because you gotta accept that as a black man and as a man, when you know you might have gone too far in one direction and you come back as a man and you fix it. So there's no beef with me and Spike Lee.
No, it takes a man to come back and fix it though now.
Yeah.
Some gangsters past. Okay, someone just said they want to salute you because you are very talented and versatile. You played everything from gangster to pastor. So salute. They asked, are me and you planning on doing a movie together?
Well, we've been planning it for like 20 years, but we're gonna find the right project.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me something the other day, Mike. I can't really talk about it, but it's something we could do together. Mike and I have crossed paths so many times. Again, man, when I first saw you on Venice Beach, I was like, man, that's a funny cat. I always come see you when you're in town, or if I'm in LA days, I came out.
Yeah.
I think, did we do Who Made the Potato Salad together?
We did the classic, Who Made the Potato Salad.
So, I talked to Coke about doing a part 2 of that. And and then I'm developing some projects with my son, who's a writer. And I want guys like me, because we've always had great respect for each other.
Yes, sir.
Mike called me a week ago and I said, I'm not doing any more podcasts because I want to do an evening with Clifton Powell and talk about my whole journey. But when it's you, Mike, I said, hey, I'm going to figure out how to do it. And I told you, I said, I don't want to talk about certain things, but it's you, Mike. And I just respect your hustle, bro. Because you used to have them. You used to have it popping out of Venice. This way before anybody knew anything about Clifton Powell and Pinky. You used to have it popping out at Venice Beach, baby.
Hey, let me ask you, how do you like the fact that wherever you go, people call you Pinky? Do you enjoy that?
It's so funny, Mike. Every character that's hot that I play, I used to be Chauncey. Then they started calling me old faggot ass Chauncey. I ain't like that. Because, Chauncey was a snitch. And then when I did Cuddy, the old school cat, hey, that's Cuddy right there. What up, Cuddy? Yeah, I got a partner right now, man. This dude called me once a month. He said, hey, yo, man, do my shit for me. Do my lines. And I got to do the whole Cuddy. You don't bite. I had to do the whole thing. And then, people remember Pinky, of course, caught on and stayed on. But every character that I play, people morph into that name, But I enjoy Pinky, man. Pinky.
It looked like fun. It looked like you had a good time doing that.
Well, let me just say this. Looks are deceiving. Because I wasn't getting Pinky at first. And me and Ice Cube were in that barbershop together, or record shop, I should say. And I wasn't getting it. So after about 6 or 7 times, just working with him, because, Cube created that Pinky outfit, the lingo, all of that stuff. All I really added to Pinky was the physical movement of Pinky. Okay. All the lines were already there. Say it again. You say something. Shut up. Who say? But what happened was I was in there with Ice Cube, and we're going over it, and I wasn't getting it. And we just came to a standstill. And I said, man, I'm trying to give you what you want. He says, and if you ever work with Cube is very quiet. But let me just tell you how Hollywood works. If you ain't getting that shit, they'll fire your ass, but they're not going to fire you that day. They're going to fire you the next day. So you're going to finish your day out. Yeah. Then they're going to call you in the morning or late night, and your manager gonna say, I don't think you're going back over there. So I'm standing there looking at Ice Cube, and I ain't had no money, man. I'm thinking about my little rent I gotta pay. Got my little scooter. I gotta pay that. I got my little cell phone. I was like, man, I need this job. So I just looked at Cube, and he looking at me, and I looked back at him, and he looked back at me, and we just stood there. And I said, listen, man, I know you're the director, or you're directing this scene. Why don't you take the gun and show me what you're trying to do? So he took the gun, and he said, I blow your head smooth off. And I don't know what happened, Mike, but I did this. Something clicked. And again, I tell all the young people, take improv theater, take improv work. You know, Mike, as a comic, you got to be fast on your feet. And my mind went back to this character that I created out of nothing called The Breaks.
Okay.
Remember The Breaks? Did you ever see The Breaks?
No.
So I got a character, that crazy character. I said, should I shoot you? Or shoot you? Or should I shoot my damn self? And I started jumping around. And that character jumped in my head. So I took the gun from Cube, and I said, I blow your head smooth off. And I started jumping. Say it again. Ooh, say it again. And that character from The Breaks jumped inside of me. And he said, what did you do? I said, I don't know. What did I do? He said, you start jumping around. He said, do that again. And that's how we got it. But it took a few hours. It took a few hours and about 10 straight takes to get that. That's why I tell everybody, get your training, man. If you think I can morph into Martin Luther King, to Pinky, to Cuddy, to Rex Fisher, or to any of the pastors that you see me play, Black Father on House, it's all training. Voiceover work on Boondocks. It's all, or Big Smoke. It's all training. It's all training.
Wow.
Let me give you this. When I first got to college in 74,
right.
This is how I sounded. Hi, my name is Clifton Powell. I'm from Washington, D.C.
Really?
I think I'm going to be an actor. That's how I sounded. You know, D.C. is below the Mason-Dixon line, so it's technically in the South. So I took 4 years of intensive speech classes in college. And then I took 4 years of oral interpretation, where you learn how to color your words and all that stuff. So when I morph into, say, and then the other thing I want people to really understand, I was the last, they had somebody else in mind for Pinky. They had somebody else in mind for Cuddy. They had somebody else in mind for Chauncey. You know, Tupac got into a tussle with the Hughes brothers. So then Too Short was going to play Chauncey. And then I was at a party. Somebody made a call on my behalf. I tell you his name, my man Alonzo Brown from Uptown.
Okay.
He said, weren't you on Rock? I said, yeah. He said, man, they looking for this character in Menace. And he made a call for me, got me an audition. So when I went in for Martin Luther King, Reuben Cannon had cast me in Buffalo Soldiers and Why the Fools Fall in Love, and Women Are Loosed. And he said, Cliff, what are you doing here? You know, you play them tough guys. You can't play Dr. King, can you? I said, Reuben, let me try it. But what I want people to understand is I stayed up all night long, and I studied Eyes on the Prize.
Wow.
And I watched every aspect of Dr. King. I cut my mustache like Dr. King. I found an old suit. I only had 2 suits. I found one suit, and I went in, and this is where your voice training comes in. Now, it doesn't matter what happens now. We've got some difficult days ahead. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. That's all voice placement. Hey, baby girl. All of that. You don't get out of here. Coming in. That's all voice. Nasally. Hey, this is Mike Tyson. I mean, it's all training. And you morph in and out of these characters. And so the point that I'm making, Mike, is maybe it look easy to people, but man, some of those roles, man, I had to sweat. I mean, bricks, you know, so.
But you put in the work.
Get your training.
Yeah.
Do the work. Don't worry about being famous. Don't worry about the money. Mike, you're the great example. My question to you is, how did you sustain it? You know, you said you did the drugs. How did you stop and how did you get back? Because you sustained it and you're back in the game. That never happens. Sometimes you get a second chance, and usually you don't. So that's my question to you.
That's true. You know, it just got more important for me to live, to enjoy life. You know, I wasn't living it. Like most people just dying. So I wasn't living it. I was dying. I thought I was having fun, but all I was doing is losing resources and
Yeah.
friends and time and opportunities. And I started talking to God about it. And I just asked God to make me sick, man. I just said, if I get anywhere near drugs, to make me ill. And I got to a point where I couldn't even go to the areas where I used to go pick up my dope. If I drove near those streets, I would get what they call cocaine gas. My stomach would start bubbling up and I'd have to get out the neighborhood, you know?
Wow.
But I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. But this was your interview, and I just want people to know all these wonderful films you did, you know, Dead President, Why Fools Fall in Love. You got your NAACP award for Ray, and I can see it now. Before this conversation, I just thought you was a wild cat that keeps getting lucky with parts. But clearly,
Hey, you know, me and you
put
got
the
up some
work
roles,
in.
Mike. You like, man, that damn Cliff Powell got the role. But you got to understand
wait,
something,
let me
Mike.
say this. Wait, I got to say this shit. I hated you for about 8 years. Every time I went to an audition, you would show up and you were so good. After a while, I just left. I remember you beat me out of an NYPD Blue, and the guy had to act crazy. And I thought I had my crazy on.
Yeah.
And then when I walked out, you walked in there and you walked in with some look in your eye. You weren't even in the damn room yet. And you had this look in your eye. And I said, damn, he crazy for real. And then when I saw it come on, I said, that's that dude's part. I wasn't supposed to have that part. That's his part right there. Because you came in and you brought the thunder, brother.
Well, let's address that, Mike, and let's address that. I'm glad I didn't know you hated me, but that's how you're supposed to feel.
I didn't hate you. I'm just
no, but
joking.
I mean, let me say this. Back in the day, they all hated. A lot of people hated Sidney Poitier, but he was just good. Michael Jackson was just good. It ain't nothing wrong with the rest of the Jackson, but Michael Jackson was just the best.
Yeah.
I have been blessed, Mike. If I tell everybody, I wanted to be Charlie Taylor, the old school cats that know who he is, of the Washington Redskins. I had no desire to be an actor. Still don't know how I got into it. Was the worst actor in my program. But I had to outwork everybody. And then I discovered method acting in the Stanislavski system. So when other people were going into audition, I was living in the character. It's a difference. So when I train or when I work, I lived in the character. When I got Dead Presidents, I went in, I done Menace with those guys. And I'm going to give you one example. I did Menace, and I got a call to come in to read for Cowboy and Spider. Spider had a half a line. Cowboy, of course, was Terrence Howard. So I went in, I had a cowboy hat for Cowboy. I had an eye patch for Spider. And then I was so broke, I had one suit, Mike, a wool suit. I stopped at Aardvark. I got me a wool hat for like $1.50. But what I did, I called my manager. I said, just read this movie called Dead Presidents. Who is playing this guy named Cuddy? She said, oh, no, they have a name actor for Cuddy. I said, well, I want to read for Cuddy. She says, I don't think that's going to happen. So I said, okay. So I stayed up all night, Mike. All night long. That's why I don't apologize. I stayed up all night long and I memorized Cuddy just like you saw it in the movie. But when I got into the audition, I did my little spider roll, one half a line. I came back from the bathroom. I put my cowboy hat on. I did Cowboy. They said, thank you. So the Hughes brothers are twins.
Right.
So you never can tell which one you're talking to, man. It's confusing as hell.
Right.
So I ran into one of them coming out of the bathroom. And I had my little suit now. I got my Dove hat on like Cuddy. I said, can I read for Cuddy? They said, no, we have a named actor for Cuddy. I said, okay, but just let me read him. So I got back in the room. Now I realize I'm with both of them. I said, guys, can I just read Cuddy? They said, Cliff, honestly, we got a named guy for Cuddy. I said, bro, just let me read him. Just let me read him. And they looked at me and they said, all right. And the way you saw it in the movie is just like I did it at the rehearsal, at the tape, in front of those guys. So the point that I'm making, Mike, is I trained for this for 25 years. And it was just my time.
The time came. The day came.
It was just my time. But it's also preparation meets opportunity. And that's where I never missed a beat. Because while everybody else was out getting high and drinking and partying and doing what else people do, I was at home studying my black ass off.
And running them lines. Wait, I got to wrap it up. And
you got to wrap it up. Let's wrap. We're going to do this again, Mike. I love it.
We're going to do it again. I got to apologize. My guy is waiting for, who's coming on next is Donnell Rollins.
Oh, that's my guy. Man, he's so damn funny. Tell Donnell, don't be mad at me. Don't
be mad, Donnell. I'm bringing you on right now. I got to get to him before he leaves because I can't see who's in the green room. And I only had him here for a little time, but you dropped pearls, brother.
It's all love,
said
bro.
so much today. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you. And I remember we was in the classic film together, Who Made Potato Salad, and we got to fight and everything. And it was just great to do scenes with you. Respect to you, man, and your family. And
thank you, brother.
You represent well. So thank you, man. How can people find you?
I'm on IG at It's Clifton Powell. Just, come on to my page. But I just want to say very quickly before I go, Mike, I got much love for you, brother. My journey compared to your journey has been easy. I'm being real. I never been in trouble, never been arrested, never been on drugs. I never had to come back from nothing other than a crazy childhood, man. So I always respect people who overcame.
Thank you,
and still in the game. Thank everybody. Watch Envy, watch Lust, and go watch Saints and Sinners season 5. I love y'all. Thank everybody out there. God bless you.
You a king, man. God bless you, brother. Thanks a lot.
All right, brother.
I'll see you around, and thank you, man. I'll call you tomorrow.
And tell Donnell he's a funny cat, man. I'm gonna be listening.
All right. Yay. Thank you,
I'm gone.
brother.
Hey, like James Brown said, I'm fading on out. I'm gone.
There you are. That's Clifton Powell. You can find him at It's Clifton Powell. So come and see him. He's the man. 100 grand. Oh, my God.